Alright, hello guys. I'm subscribed to a bunch of pop culture YouTube channels, and I noticed that nobody seems to be doing a video on the Halloween special, the MCU Halloween special Werewolf by Night. And I think it's actually worth talking about because it's the second best thing in MCU Phase 4 after No Way Home, which however is an extremely low bar, because Phase 4 of the MCU is just one crap thing after another. But you know, this is definitely way a million times better than She-Hulk, and it's a million times better than Thor Love and Thunder, and a million times better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and a million times better than the Eternals, and the more tolerable stuff like Doctor Strange 2, I found that tolerable, but Werewolf by Night is a little better than that. I found Loki tolerable and WandaVision tolerable, but Werewolf by Night is a little better than that. It's like a tiny bit above tolerable. Is there anything I forgot? Wasn't there something between Black Widow and Eternals? Shang-Chi, yes. I would have to say that one is forgettable because I completely forgot about it. But Shang-Chi exists, yes. Yeah, that made a huge impression on me. Obviously. Yeah, Werewolf by Night, it's kind of like trying to get into like a Ed Wood kind of atmosphere. Not the literal Ed Wood movies from the 50s, but the 1994 Tim Burton movie Ed Wood with Johnny Depp as Ed Wood. It reminded me a lot of that movie. That which by the way, if you haven't seen Tim Burton's Ed Wood from 1994 with Johnny Depp, that is a movie I've only seen like earlier this year. It came out like almost 3 decades ago. And when I saw it, I wanted to bite myself in the fucking ass for not having seen it before that. I instantly fell in love with that movie. It's amazing, it's awesome, it's perfect in every fucking way. I love that movie, absolutely. That's a great fucking movie. Ed Wood by Tim Burton. Watch that. And yeah, Werewolf by Night tries to get into that kind of atmosphere. You know, with modern cameras trying to capture like 50s, 60s, early 60s horror movie vibe. But except with lens flares, which is... Every time you see a fucking lens flare, and you see them all the fucking time in this one, you just facepalm because it ruins fucking everything they were going for. Like, every time it goes for that, most of the time, for that 50s, early 60s horror movie vibe, you start to get into it, and then they start fucking lens flares, and you're like, God, why? That is such a stupid creative choice to make. Like, me as a viewer, I get really into that homage to 50s, early 60s horrors. And then they put lens flares, and it's like, oh God, oh no, why? Why lens flares of all things? And you know, the whole thing is in black and white, but then the lens flares are in color, so you really notice them. Oh, yeah. There are, of course, you know, typical for recent Marvel. There's some sorry about that. Some typical character perversion, like they make the man thing a little bit more comedic. His facial reactions actually remind me of the scene from Roland Emmerich's Independence Day from 1996. I think everybody on the planet has seen that. When Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum fire the nuclear missile, and then the alien controller goes like, seeing the Jolly Roger on his screen. And a Man Thing in this TV special reacts the same way when encountering something unexpected. But I can live with that. Like, it's not like as extreme as some of the other weird character perversions Marvel recently do. One thing I didn't like the 2 or 3 people who watch my channel knew I took a long break because my old camera was just screwing around and not getting anything right, and my old microphone was screwing around and not getting anything right. I had to completely get new equipment, so I had a long break, so I didn't review not Ghost Rider, Moon Knight. I keep wanting to say Ghost Rider, and I don't know why, because the thought of Disney doing a Ghost Rider show would send chills down my back. But yeah, Moon Knight. Like, they do a Moon Knight show, and I'm not a big comic reader, but I know the animated the appearances of him in animated shows, and I know what fans say, and I know he has a catchphrase, and Disney does a show on Moon Knight, and I wait 6 episodes. Does he ever say anything about that he like would prefer to take the hit? Nope. Disney doesn't give a fuck. Thor is now a clown. Like, there was a balance, like in Thor Ragnarok, that Taika Waititi, the break was because I was trying to remember the name, Taika Waititi wanted to make use of the comedic talent that Chris Hemsworth has, and I think in Thor Ragnarok it succeeded, that they struck a good balance between, having Thor, but also making use of Chris Hemsworth's talents as a comedy actor, and striking a good balance between having serious Thor and, cracking a few jokes. And then, Thor Love and Thunder was just like, I'm not going to review it separately because it sucked too much for that. But another detour is in the bloopers for Star Trek Enterprise. There's a scene with Scott Bakula and Jeffrey Combs goofing around, and Jeffrey Combs is actually playing a joke that Scott Bakula is was planning to play, and Scott Bakula says, "You took my gag and I gagged on it." So that's where I got that from. Every time I talk about Thor Love and Thunder, is there are so many gags, you gag on them. And like, literally. Like, you watch the movie gag, 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 and you're like, you gag on the fucking endless gags, and it's not watchable. It's just fucking stupid and annoying. It stops being funny because it's such an onslaught of stupid gags. It's not even like a Airplane or The Naked Gun or Hot Shots or Loaded Weapon, where some of them are clever. It's just Stupid gag, 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 and it's fucking unwatchable. Silence my phone. And so vibrate there. And yeah, a bit of an interruption. And I lost my point because sometimes people just flood me with message, not like send me a message, hello, are you there? But it's like 20 at a time. I think everybody knows that problem nowadays. Anyway, to try to backtrack my thought process, it was about what they did with the man thing in this Werewolf by Night special, and I don't mind it that much. I don't mind Werewolf by Night being the way he is, even though he looks more like Planet of the Apes. I mean, there's nothing wolf looking about him. He looks like, Teen Wolf, like Michael J. Fox as Teen Wolf. Or, Dr. Zayas in the original Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes. There's nothing. Actually, Teen Wolf was a werewolf. What the fuck am I saying? I was just trying to make a point that he doesn't. Okay. Anybody who watched this video, please forget the last minute ever happened. It didn't happen. You you imagined that. Shit. Shit. Okay. Yeah, moving on. That didn't happen. You didn't see that. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, but yeah. Okay. That was a bit of a failed point. Alright. Moving on. Yeah, so Werewolf by Night was fine. And looked like a werewolf because he looked like Teen Wolf. And I never say anything else. Because that would be stupid. Yeah. And there's the main character who looks like a clone of Jessica Jones, but isn't the same actress, just, I don't know, her clone. Because, in Hollywood, most people look exactly the same. I don't know how they do it, and I don't particularly care. Yeah, one thing I thought was really great was that BB from Frasier was the lead villain. I actually looked it up, Harriet Sansom Harris, who played BB in Frasier and acted exactly like BB in Frasier, like overacted the same way, like the really William Shatner on steroids acting she has, and that was a fucking delight. She was great, and of course they showed an opening speech by an animated corpse, which is amazingly fitting for this franchise and Marvel Phase 4. A speech by an animated corpse. Yep, that's MCU Phase 4. Anyway, overall, this was really not very impressive. I didn't tell you anything about the plot. You could call this a spoiler-free review. It wasn't intended to be that way. It's just that the plot is so fucking boring and generic that there's effort. I don't give a fuck to talk about it. A bunch of and run around and do stuff, and there's some fighting and some stuff and some people talk. And there's a random scene where the female lead, who looks like a Jessica Jones clone, randomly for 2 minutes no longer has lipstick on, and then after that scene she has lipstick on again, even though, after that scene she was put in jail, but while being put in jail she apparently put lipstick on again that she lost in the previous scene for no reason. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know if they had a plan behind that, if that was also like a tribute to Edward. But it was weird. I just randomly noticed that while watching. But the plot is just a bunch of people run around, do stuff, and then the werewolf guy becomes a werewolf. They're trying to hunt the man-thing, and the werewolf guy tries to free the man-thing, and the man-thing is a nice guy, and then at the end, he and the man-thing have breakfast together, and the female lead is actually a good person, and who gives a fuck? It's MCU. The plot has absolutely no depth or meaning, but at least I think some of the ideas were good, and it wasn't offensive. And yeah, I mean, if you want to watch it, you can watch it. I'm not giving a counter recommendation against watching it. I think it didn't feel like a time of my life that I was desperate to get back. I think it was a relatively enjoyable experience, even though it was not particularly impressive or great or good. It was okay. It was nice, pleasant, okay watching. And yeah, I think in terms of the MCU Phase 4, that's a glowing recommendation. And, to go back to the beginning of the video, I really think it's the second best release after No Way Home, even though it's a lot worse than No Way Home. But with the low bar that exists in Phase 4, this is definitely the second best. Way below No Way Home, but above all the rest of the crap. This is the second best, and yeah, I'm not recommending against watching it.